You think you procrastinate because you're lazy. You've probably said it about yourself this week. It's wrong. Completely wrong. Scientists have watched procrastination happen inside a brain scanner, and laziness never shows up. What shows up instead is something much stranger. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, to be fair, the laziness story feels true. Because from the outside, that's exactly what procrastination looks like. Work exists. You're not doing it. Case closed, right? So we treat it as a time management problem. Buy the planner. Block the calendar. Download the app. The entire productivity industry is built on this one diagnosis. And be honest, how many planners have you bought? How many are sitting in a drawer right now, blank after page 6? That's the first clue. If procrastination were a scheduling problem, one of those planners would have fixed it. None of them did, because they were treating the wrong disease. And here's the crack the laziness theory can't explain. When you procrastinate, you're rarely doing nothing. You'll deep clean the entire kitchen to avoid writing one email. You'll organize your files. You'll research the perfect productivity system for 6 hours. Think about that. Lazy people don't scrub counters. Lazy people don't alphabetize a bookshelf at midnight. You're clearly willing to work, just not on that one thing. So if it's not laziness, what is it? In 2013, 2 psychologists, Fuchsia Sirois and Tim Pychyl, published a theory that flipped the entire field on its head. Procrastination isn't about avoiding work. It's about avoiding a feeling. Every task you avoid is carrying an emotional charge. That email? Fear of how they'll respond. Your taxes? Dread of what you'll find. The big project? Self-doubt, because if you try your best and it's bad, that means you're bad. The task is never just a task. It's a feeling wearing a task costume. And the moment you turn away from the task, the feeling stops. Instantly. No breathing exercises, no therapy, just relief. Right now. Researchers call this short-term mood repair. Your brain trades your entire future for 30 seconds of relief. And here's the uncomfortable part. The trade works. You really do feel better. That's why you keep making it. You're not failing at productivity. You're succeeding at feeling better. Just at a terrible, terrible price. This isn't one cute study, by the way. Psychologist Piers Steele analyzed nearly 800 studies on procrastination. The biggest predictors? How unpleasant the task feels, and how impulsively you chase quick relief. Poor scheduling skills barely register. Your calendar was never the problem. Still sounds like a fancy excuse? Fine, let's look inside the skull. In 2018, researchers at Ruhr University Bochum put 264 people into an MRI scanner and compared the brains of doers with the brains of procrastinators. They weren't looking for laziness. They were measuring the actual size of brain regions. And they found a real physical difference. Procrastinators had a larger amygdala, the brain's threat alarm. This is the ancient system that screams danger when a tiger walks into camp. But your amygdala doesn't know tigers went out of style. So it rings for spreadsheets. It rings for essays. It rings for that unread email from your boss. And it gets worse. The connection between that alarm and the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the region that's supposed to quiet the alarm and say, relax, it's just an email, was measurably weaker in procrastinators. So the threat alarm rings louder, and the volume knob barely works. Let that sink in. Procrastination is visible in brain anatomy. That's not a character flaw. That's hardware. Nobody calls a smoke detector lazy for going off too easily. But hang on, this creates a puzzle. If avoiding the task genuinely makes you feel better, why do procrastinators end up feeling so awful? A classic study followed students through an entire semester and measured their stress and health along the way. Early in the semester, the procrastinators were winning. Lower stress, fewer illnesses than the students grinding away. The mood repair was working beautifully. Then the semester ended and the bill arrived. By finals, the procrastinators had flipped. More stress, more illness, and worse grades than everyone else. They didn't skip the suffering. They financed it at a brutal interest rate. That's the real trade. Procrastination is a payday loan for your emotions. Instant cash. Crushing repayment. And the delay adds a brand new ingredient the original task never had. Guilt. Guilt makes the task feel even worse than before. So you avoid it even harder, which creates more guilt. The cure your brain chose is the disease. It's a perfect, self-feeding loop. Oh, and that thing you tell yourself, I just work better under pressure. That's the loop talking. The panic at the deadline isn't better working conditions. It's the only emotion strong enough to finally drown out the dread. You're not a pressure performer. You're a hostage negotiating with your own alarm system. But if this loop is ancient wiring, why does procrastination seem to be getting worse? Here's a number that should worry you. In the 1970s, about 5% of adults called themselves chronic procrastinators. Today, around 20%. 1 in 5 people. The loop didn't change, the world did. And among college students, studies put procrastination as high as 95%. That is not a personality type. That's an environment. Think about what escape used to cost. 50 years ago, avoiding your homework meant standing up, walking to the TV, and watching whatever happened to be on. Escape took effort. Today, relief from any uncomfortable feeling is one thumb swipe away. Precision engineered by the smartest companies on Earth, optimized by algorithms that know your weak spots better than you do. Your amygdala is ancient wiring. The feed is a supercomputer. It was never a fair fight. So no, you're not weaker than your grandparents. Your escape hatch just got $1 billion of engineering behind it. So what do you actually do with this? 1. Reframe. Stop treating procrastination as a scheduling problem and start treating it as an emotion problem. When you catch yourself avoiding something, don't ask, when will I do this? Ask, what about this feels bad? And how do I shrink that feeling? Usually the answer is, make the next step insultingly small and concrete. Vague tasks carry the most dread, because vagueness gives anxiety room to grow. Work on the report is terrifying. Write one ugly sentence is not. You can't fear something that takes 90 seconds. And here's the secret the motivation gurus have backwards. Action changes your mood faster than mood changes your actions. You don't wait to feel ready and then start. You start badly and that's what makes you feel ready. The dread is almost always biggest 1 second before you begin. But the strangest fix of all? One study took students who'd bombed their first midterm by procrastinating and found something almost embarrassing. The students who simply forgave themselves, no punishment, no vows to do better, just genuine self-forgiveness, procrastinated less on the next exam. Beating yourself up doesn't break the loop. Powers the loop because guilt is the fuel. Forgiveness cuts the wire. Discipline never even touched it. And now, the fact that reframes this entire video. Neuroscientists scan people's brains while they thought about themselves 10 years in the future. The pattern that lit up was not the self pattern. It was the pattern your brain uses for strangers. Read that again. To your brain, future you is not you. Future you is some other guy. So procrastination was never you failing to work. It's you handing the misery to a person your brain genuinely believes is someone else. Of course you do it. Everyone would rather a stranger did their taxes. You're not lazy. You never were. You're just very, very good at delegating to a stranger wearing your face. And that stranger? He's tired. He's been cleaning up after you for years. Which raises a much bigger question. If your brain treats future you as a stranger, can you two be introduced? Scientists found a way to do exactly that, and it changed how much money people saved. That's the next video.